streaming. And I'm gonna kind of, I mean, I don't care which streams. It's kind of a little bit more like less formal. I'm just trying to make sure that this is actually properly
Ooh,
working
that's better.
right first. So the locker room. Make sure my
Ooh,
shit's actually up. Just
watch live now.
yeah. So hold on. I'm gonna just keep babbling for a second so I can hear myself, and you keep talking now.
Alrighty, keep talking. Charlie Quail's still a twat. And yeah,
All right. So cool.
Don Cherry should be made Prime Minister of Canada.
I mean, listen. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. All right. So, welcome to episode 3. We said it was going to be Wednesday or Thursday, but then real life hit you. So, this is actually going to be the first episode we do live. And, this is going to be a little bit of touch and go. So, for y'all that stop by live, we appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to appreciate that.
Yeah, Insomniac Hockey Theater.
Pretty much. I mean, it's 3:30 in the morning, and this is where I'm going to crack open a cold one to give myself enough energy to get through this. So, there's a lot of things we want to do. I told you, live stream's going to be
derailed immediately.
I told you, live stream part of this, we're just going to have some more fun with it. So,
yeah.
Okay, let's go into the subject matter. We have 5 topics we want to talk about. So, if you're all there watching, we'll probably get the Bruins stuff out the way really quickly because I am a Bruins a little bit heavy channel, which I'm trying not to be, but that's just the curse of the beast. We're going to talk about the Brad Marchand Pastrnak drama or made up drama by resident douchebag Keefe. We're going to talk about Chiefs' thoughts on the Pettersson video I made about a possible Pettersson trade for the Bruins. We're going to talk about Mackenzie Blackwood's phenomenal start with the Colorado Avalanche. The Red Wings, man, they've been on an absolute heater, 7-game win streak. And this was an interesting one. Should the Rangers be selling? They're only 5 points out of a playoff spot, but they are towards the bottom of the Metro. Should they consider selling? So, before we get into anything further, how you been there, Chief? How you been?
Oh, it's been a veritable shit show.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids, for cursing, but yeah, no other way to put it.
I have a lot of probably a majority adult audience, so that's completely fine. So, okay, let's talk about it. So, did you follow along with the Patrice Bergeron, Jesus Christ, the Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak drama that kind of came through? That the report about them two having issues and that Pastrnak didn't want to play on Marchand's line, and then Brad Marchand, in his usual manner, clapped back at that report, calling it a bunch of bullshit and that guy shouldn't have a job.
Yeah. So honestly, the first time I heard it on the NHL Network, puttering around during my day. And I thought they messed the names up. I thought they were still talking about JT Miller and Pettersson. And I was just like, wait, what? And then got back to work, actually pulled up the video of the dude, and I just thought, geez, do you need clicks that bad?
Yeah.
That you're just kind of fabricating drama? I mean, you're a journalist to some extent, but don't just start creating drama for the sake of creating drama.
Yeah, it was very childish too. Did you get to see his response or the video I made on his response by any chance?
I watched some of it, and I actually about a few seconds into him talking, I was just like, ugh. And I was like, I don't want to do a disrespect to my boy, but that dude's a moron.
No, I mean that's definitely the vibe I got from that guy, and so
a few seconds in, and my head hurt.
So, do you think? So, there's defenders of that reporting saying like, well, this guy's been right on a few things before. But when you kind of looked into Keith's background, like he's like, I was right about the Bruins firing Montgomery. I'm like, well, you're not really the first person
Yeah.
to report about Montgomery being fired. There was actually inklings of that in the off season that he had nothing to do with the report because there was a contract dispute. They couldn't really come to an agreement. That's actually why I believe, yeah, the Bruins struggled, but I think it was more due to the fact that he wasn't willing to come to agreement with a contract with the Bruins. That's actually probably the biggest reason I feel like he was let go. Yeah, the on ice kind of suffered, but it was, I don't know, man. It's a peculiar thing to me for him to really just dig his heels into the ground and stay with that
Yeah.
report.
Well, listening to it, I thought that you picked the weirdest hill to die on.
Yeah.
I was just like, you're all in on that, and the fact that it came within days of the other Vancouver issue, I, I don't know. It just seemed like, I don't know. He sounds like the Adam Schefter of hockey,
Yeah. I'm
just making shit up, throwing shit out, and see what sticks.
it's one of these things that it kind of is a problem, right? It's a problem with sports reporting overall is that they want to have these scoops and they want to have the groundbreaking drama so they can get, traction, views on whether it's their channel, their radio show, their broadcast, wherever they're streaming from. They want to get more eyes on them personally. To me,
Yeah,
though, that's playing with fire, though, when you start fabricating things. Because genuinely, who are you going to believe? David Pastrnak and Brad Marchand, the two individuals that were involved in this quote unquote disagreement, or some random yokel who never even is in that locker room, has never spoken to anybody on the team about it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a weird hill to die on, and especially with a younger guy that's trying to kind of make a name for himself in this industry. I think you pick and choose your battles, and I just think he picked extremely poorly. I think he saw what was happening in Vancouver, and he's like, well, Brad Marchand and Pasternak are not playing on the same line anymore. There's got to be some issues there, and just making up stuff for whatever reason, I think is just, I just think foolish.
yeah. And the whole thing in reporting is, if you're going to report something like that, have a second source,
Oh yeah,
just so it's not one dude just popping off and essentially just making stuff up.
yeah. That's the biggest thing, man. Why in the hell would you ever make something up? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
That's ultimately going to come out in the wash. To me, it's, I'm trying not to say unpleasant words, but to me it's just so
Oh, I
god
will.
goddamn stupid.
You know, I will. We've got evidence of that.
We've got evidence. Yeah, no,
Uh,
I mean, you sank that. That was hilarious, by the way. People love that rant.
I just, I don't get what this dude's trying to prove. Is is he just, got, is he operating with, a small, package or something? You just got to pump himself up, or
It's, I think this is what it is to me. So, just to kind of give you a lay of the land, right? Because I'm in New England. So he's at WEEI, which is the little brother network for the radio stations. Like the Sports Hub 98.5, they really dominate the ratings, and WEEI is like the bastard child nobody loves anymore.
yeah.
So WEI gets a little bit more clickbaity to try to get more views and attention on their radio station because they just don't have really too many great personalities on it. It's just very bland, boring. Personally, I actually think
Just
radio.
antiseptic.
Yeah, I think they also suffer that radio overall is kind of on the downturn. But yeah, I just they try to do whatever they can to get attention on their station, and I think due to that, that's probably incentivized this type of report. You know?
Well, and that's unfortunately quite common throughout the industry, and it's even filtered down to the point where podcasts, like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll have a podcast come up my feed on YouTube, and just like less than 2-3 minutes in, I've pretty much figured out that whoever's talking about the subject matter is a moron.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of a problem, right? Is there's obviously going to be some times where you disagree with a point, disagree with the person on a subject matter, and I think that's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see going forward with Keith because like what's his angle now, right? Because nobody on that team's ever going to talk to him. I think that's kind of confirmed at this point. Like when you try
Well,
to
yeah,
cause this massive a divide, so no one's going to really like mess with him. So what is his turn here, right? Especially in the local. So is he just going to be one of these personalities that's just an agitator? Like, is he going to be a Skip Bayless type where he just says a
oh,
bunch of random shit just to kind of get attention on him? I mean, is that
Dollar
it?
General Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I will give Colin Coward this is like he makes a great show. I don't agree with most of the shit he says, but
I
he
think
is.
he's a complete and utter idiot, but
Yeah, I mean, I'll
that's
give
just me.
I'll give him his credit. I'll give him his flowers in that regard. So, all right, switching gears here. Next topic. Let's kind of talk about it, man. So oh, what's up, edited? Appreciate you kind of popping in for our live show. No agenda hockey episode number 3. So appreciate you
After
popping
Dark
in.
30.
After yeah, seriously, after like seriously, almost 4 in the morning.
After Dark. The
So
Quiet Storm.
so you had
Sorry.
so you had an opinion on my video I made about the Bruins trying to acquire uh, Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
Give me your take. Well, you go.
I'm not going to deny that the guy has got talent. He
Hmm.
obviously does, but he is exactly not what you guys need.
Really?
No. He's, in my opinion, which generally is a wrong one, I just don't think he has the stones.
You don't
I
think
mean,
so?
no. I mean, he's a great talent, but he's just, why are you going to get another Pasternak that's not as good?
Damn. So
Pasternak's a great player. I mean, we'll disagree. I think he's more of a superstar than you think he is.
right.
But I just think Pettersson's kind of the step below that. You guys need somebody that you can post up in front of the goalie. I mean, we discussed it with Kreider. You need someone of his ilk
Yeah.
because you guys are probably going to make the playoffs.
Maybe.
I think I believe in it more than you do personally. But when the rubber meets the road, is he going to be able to do what he needs to do when it's crunch time?
It's
I mean, granted, pretty goals are nice, and he's got a hell of a lot of talent. That I'm never going to deny. But when it hits the fan, is that a guy you're going to be able to count on?
it's a valid point to bring up that he's not a guy. He's not a jam guy, right? I don't think
No,
that's crazy to say. I would argue though. Do I think the trade's even going to happen in the first place? No, because the Bruins are not going to make that trade. They would have to give a haul to get him. But
oh, they'd have to give up the vote.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So let's just say, but let's just fictional world. Let's say it could happen. I I I get what you're saying, but just imagine a line of Pedersen, Pasternak, and then just for the drama's sake, Marchand, right? But
yeah.
if you just had Pedersen and Pasternak together, and then maybe put Zaka on his wing, that gives you a great first line. Like that's one of the best first lines in the league. Maybe not the best, but one of the best. That's to me would add a bunch of scoring depth. And Pedersen's a young center who's entering his prime. I guess that's where my kind of thought process was on it. Is that like, yeah, I mean, maybe the market he doesn't handle the best. Maybe he doesn't have the personality for it. But on ice and talent wise, I definitely could see him being beneficial on that line. I could actually see him having another 100-point season on a line with a guy like Pasternak.
And I don't think you're wrong there. But my concern is what happens when you guys make the playoffs?
Fair point. I don't know because
That's
that's a fair point. I don't know. I don't know, but I would argue. Do you think because Lindholm's been good on the dot? Do you think a Pedersen, Lindholm, 1-2 numbers like the 1 and 2 center? Do you think that's good enough to get you the distance?
if Swayman stands on his head.
Which he did Friday. What did he do that Saturday night? Whatever. It's so
Yeah.
late now. Um, which Swayman did the other night. But
Yeah.
I was saying if you could get Pedersen, it's not gonna happen. Let's say you get Pedersen and Pasternak, and then I think if you just get like one wing, like a top six wing, doesn't even have to be someone elite, just a solid wing. I think the Bruins would be in a far better place. But
During the regular season, I'm not going to disagree. I'm just saying when it comes to the playoffs,
he has to show
that's
it.
where I have my concerns. I think he could have a fantastic. I don't see why he couldn't have a 100-point season with you guys.
So
I just think,
Go
I
ahead.
think when it's coming down to it, though, he's not going to be able to give you guys what you really need.
Fair enough. Edited says, I don't like the idea of two players taking up $22 to $23 million though. Miller would be awesome if he had a lower cap hit. JT Miller. So
Yeah.
JT Miller's cap hit, if I recall, is I think 8. Is it 8 million? Let's check really quick on Puckpedia. So the only reason I didn't go more in on because personally JT Miller would make if you could get him makes a lot of sense because he's a little bit cheaper. Yeah, he's older, but the guy still produces like crazy. And I think he's a very, very solid center. He give the Bruins a big boost in that regard. But he also has a no movement clause. Yeah, his cap hit's $8 million per year. $8 million per year.
Oof.
But his term on the deal goes until 2030. So yeah, like that's but so JT Miller's 29. So yeah, I mean that's a lot. I mean
You're
you're going to be probably regretting the back end of that deal.
yeah.
He'll be 37
And
by the time the contract expires.
and you're gambling a hell of a lot on an older guy is an $8 million cap hit. Is that a gamble you're willing to take?
If you feel he gets you over the top, sure. I mean, just so we're kind of clear here, and this is why I was the Pedersen's contract higher, but this is why I kind of like was linking to it is the Pedersen's 33 at the end of this deal with the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay.
So in 2032, he's going to be 33. So that was kind of my rationale. Like you get a guy not pretty much, you get a guy through his whole prime during a contract. And then if the salary cap goes up over time, which it's expected to jump maybe even up to 9 mil next season, you're kind of putting yourself in a situation where it's like, is the contract heavy? Sure, but it's not as heavy as it like once looked,
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right to your opinion. I mean, if you don't think that would be a good fit for Boston, I can understand
I
it.
don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm not trying to take away from the kid's talent because, I mean, it's just, I don't know.
You're not sure of the fit.
No, I'm really not. Because essentially you're getting a second Pasternak.
Never a bad thing, though.
which it is not. You're 100% correct in that. But mid-April, or say by the time the 1st of May rolls around, and if you're out, you know, would giving all that up for Elias Pettersson be Don Sweeney's death knell?
Could be. I mean, if we, yeah, I mean, it could be. There's a definitely an aspect of that there could come back to bite him. That's
Yeah,
definitely that is true. I think I think Don Sweeney's got to do better in the draft because
I think you got to do about one better than a lot of things.
to be fair to Sweeney, and I'm not a big Sweeney defender. I've been very critical of some of his trades, but when the Bruins had that quote unquote cup window, he added a lot, man. He got Taylor Hall. You know what I mean? Like he made sure to
Yeah,
try to get pieces to maximize the window and try to put the Bruins over the top. So I actually think as time has gone on, he's gotten better as a general manager. I just for whatever reason, and it's not even just the drafting, our development has not brought players along at all. And I think there needs to be some look internally like, why are these quote unquote very talented prospects not turning out to be where they should be? Like, is there something we're not doing in the minor leagues? Is there something that we're not doing in the camps? Like, I genuinely think there'd be a good idea to kind of explore like what's not working here and try to fix it. Like, is it just bad scouting?
yeah.
That's where I think for me, if I'm the Bruins, that's what I would look at internally. I would be like, all right, like we have some talent, we
I
have the occasional guys that hit, but we don't. We have too many misses. Too many.
and I think you're right. I don't think you're wrong. I think you're playing a pretty dangerous game, hitching your wagon to that trade.
Fair. So, Chief says no to Elias Elias Pettersson, but you know what he doesn't say no to is Mackenzie fucking Blackwood.
Good, great googly moogly, that kid.
Let me give you
Um,
let me give you the stats. 11 games played for the Avalanche, 10 started, an 8-2-1 record, a 939 save percentage, and a 1.66 goals against average with zero shutouts, by the way.
yeah.
So he in every single game has been low scoring affair. He's looked extremely good. I'm just gonna say it now. Just like I predicted, you put him in new environment and he thrives because Blackwood has that in him. He's got that dog in him. So,
Um, we're going to have to take a quick pause, folks, and I'm going to have to go to Providence, Rhode Island, where Paulie is from, and pick him up, take him to an urgent care because he's going to hurt his elbow patting himself on the back on this one.
oh, dude, I'm probably gonna sprain my wrist jerking off. It's just no. I think he's been great. He's been absolutely great. No,
Mm-hmm.
oh, quick thing. Edited said, I saw McLaughlin on waivers. Does that mean something is coming or is the Bruins getting called? Probably either it's like, I would have to check. It's either that the Bruins are doing some cap manipulation on the day to day or maybe they're calling up Lysell. There could be a move there because Kostelic got dinged up. So we're not too sure about that. So edited that could be, he could be right back up with a big club or maybe they're bringing up another P Bruin to see what they got. But going on to Blackwood, your thoughts thus far as an Avalanche fan. What are your thoughts on him, his performance, and do you believe that this guy's the final piece?
When you initially said it, I understood where you're coming from with it. Did I have my doubts? Absolutely. Um, I needed the proof in the pudding, and 11 games in, you've been on the money.
Mm,
Is he everything that we've needed? Absolutely. Even though we lost to Winnipeg last game, he kept it. He, he kept us in it. We had a shot,
yeah.
and I think goaltenders' metrics are generally, wins, save percentage, goals against average. I look at it a little differently, even though I've never been a goalie, because I would have been a mess. Um, the games you lose, are you in that game? The 2 losses he's had, we've been in those games. And to me, that's what impresses me the most.
Mm.
Because all you need is Nathan MacKinnon or a Rantanen or a Makar or even a Lehkonen to just, you know, break open, get a breakaway, or get a greasy goal.
Right.
And we've been in both those losses. And right now, 8-2-1 through 11 is what you said?
Yeah, 8-2-1. So 8 wins, 2 losses, and 1 overtime loss.
I mean, God, that's an 80% winning percentage.
Yeah.
That is absolutely asinine in the best way.
So out of 20 possible points his team could have got, he got 17. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's realistic to say that will you keep up this amount of amazing performances? Probably not. There's
No.
going to be some cold streak that hits. I just think with Blackwood, and he gives them something they just haven't had probably since Kemper. And I know Georgie had a good first year, and then it kind of the wheels fell off in the playoffs. But you guys haven't had a great goalie since, or even a good goalie since Kemper, in my personal opinion.
And I thought Kemper was good. I actually think now, from what I've seen, that Blackwood may be a better fit and in the long run be a better goaltender for us for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Because he's only 28, by the way. He's not that old.
Yeah, no. And you've told me numerous times that goalies are weird. Sometimes they don't hit their peak until they're 30.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have seen that with like teams like, Tim Thomas, for example. I mean, that's the perfect example for me. He didn't hit his prime until his like early 30s, mid 30s. So
Yeah.
I think there definitely is some aspects that can kind of play there. And I think with the Avalanche finally having that goaltender that they have desperately needed, the conversation really kind of comes into is this team currently as formatted a Stanley Cup threat?
Or close. The other day when you brought up us needing an extra defenseman, that is exactly what I was concurring with. And then the whole Bo Byram conversation came up, and I got all googly eyed because hell, bring him back, please.
Do you think Bo Byram? Do you think the Sabres would trade him back? And what would the Sabres want for him in return?
Oh, we'd have to give up a draft pick.
But I think with the current window of the Avalanche, I think first round picks are expendable, personally.
Yeah.
Because you have Nathan MacKinnon, you have Nichushkin, he's day to day right now, but you have Rantanen, you have Drouin, who you got he's a relatively cheap deal. I mean, his boy McKinnon got him paid $2.5 million. Lehkonen, solid player. I mean, I think Middlestat, he's done solid. I think if you just get another defenseman with with the goaltending you're now receiving, this is going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm not going to say we're going to win it all, but whoever they do end up facing in the playoffs are going to hate their lives.
100%. I mean,
we're going to hate their lives because if it's not MacKinnon, it's Rantanen. If it's not MacKinnon, Rantanen, it's Makar. And then even then, it's Big Val.
Yeah.
It's Lehkonen. It's Middlestat. It's just this laundry list of cats that are coming out to beat you.
Yeah. I mean,
It's just a bunch of dudes that are going to do everything in their power to beat the brakes off you.
so
And
yeah,
it's it's a bit of an embarrassment of riches.
never a bad thing though. Never a bad thing to
No,
have that much talent on the Avalanche, especially since you're a fan of them.
yeah.
And
Oh, trust me, I'm pretty happy.
I think with Blackwood, I think you just need one more goal. I mean, one more defenseman. The
Yeah,
Avalanche can get a defenseman. I think they're far better than the Oilers. I think there's just a lot there because when I look at their division, kind of let me just kind of go into it, right? When I look at their
it's a
division,
mess.
it's the Central. So you got Winnipeg, Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado, St. Louis, Utah, Nashville, Chicago. Now Colorado's currently in a wild card spot. I think the Winnipeg Jets have to prove to me they can actually do it in the postseason before I really kind of believe in them.
Them and Minnesota both,
Minnesota, them too. But
same boat.
Dallas, that's a threat, and then Colorado in the Central. And then in the West, like with the Pacific Division, again, the Oilers, there's the Golden Knights actually I think are really made for a playoff type team, so they're going to be a hard
Yeah.
out. But I mean, when I look in the West, the only thing holding me back from really believing in the Oilers is the goaltending. But it's I think Colorado's right there in the mix with the top teams. I do.
Oh, I like our chances. Um, the next few months though are kind of going to be a
To be a litmus
we
test.
just yeah, and we just started playing. We just played Minnesota, beat the brakes off them, thankfully. But that was the first time we played Minnesota this year because the schedule's been a little wonky.
Yeah,
And thank you
I've
again, NHL Network, for blacking me out so I can't watch it, douchebags.
that is that is the weird thing with some of the scheduling in the NHL. It's just weird. I would definitely kind of
Uh-huh.
concur on that. It's weird. Like, why is it done this?
Well, it was like I was looking at who had the road trip that went from Seattle to Montreal to Carolina to Pittsburgh.
I forget, but yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I forget which team
I
that
was just
was.
like, I was like, who's your guys' travel planner? You know,
Yeah,
Helen Keller.
yeah.
It's
I
just like,
mean,
good God,
so
like, come
edited
on, y'all.
edited asks, do you think the Devils are going to be a dynasty in the future? So I don't. How do I put this? I like the Devils. I actually picking them to come out of the East. Dynasty is kind of a hard thing for me to say. And it's not because I don't like the team. I do like the Devils. It's just, it's hard to be a dynasty, man. It's really hard. Like, you got to have a bunch of buy in, a bunch of guys that are willing to kind of even take lesser deals. It's it's hard. Like when I'm looking at New Jersey, I mean they have a lot of their guys locked up. I mean Myers locked up, Hughes is locked up, Jesper Bratt's locked up, Heischer's locked up. They got pretty much all their core locked up for
Yeah,
a bit, which is a great sign up front. Defensively, I mean you got Dougie Hamilton, Pesci, Dylan, Siegenthaler, Luke Hughes.
Hughes.
Luke Hughes is gonna be an RFA, so that could be the one place where it gets weird. What will be interesting to see is what they do in net because
Yeah,
Markstrom and Allen I think are a very good tandem. Markstrom when he's on is one of the better goalies in the NHL. Allen, I think, plays good whenever he has an association with Martin Brodeur for whatever reason. That's just how it is. I don't make up these facts; they're just true. Markstrom to me is a goaltender that can be hot and cold. Can he win
yeah.
you a cup? Probably. I mean, Antti Niemi won a cup for the Blackhawks, right? So I'm not saying it's impossible. I think
No, it's not.
Markstrom is a far
Stranger
better goaltender than Niemi ever was.
stranger things have happened.
but I think they have a bunch of locked up deals. Yeah, it could happen. To me, it's going to be their fine tuning of their roster. Up front, again, they have a lot of their talent locked up for a long time, and I mean, he's on year 5 of a 7-year deal, but the majority of these guys looking at are locked up for a bit. So will he take a relatively friendly hometown discount to stay competitive? If he wants to win, yeah. So I think if the Devils are going to have a dynasty, they're going to have to win a cup within the next year or two. So these
Yes.
contracts, like players are kind of willing, like listen, like kind of like they did in Boston, even though it wasn't really a dynasty, they won one cup, but they were always kind of in that conversation with the Stanley Cup Finals. Like players will take discounts. Like Sidney Crosby took a discount at Pittsburgh to stay there so they could
Yeah.
build. And that's the one thing I'll always marvel with Crosby. Like he sacrificed money. Like Crosby could have made a lot more money than he did. He could have really just put the Penguins over the barrel of his
Over the
gun and
barrel.
say, "Just pay me, motherfucker." But he didn't. So, yeah, I mean, could they be a dynasty? Absolutely. I need them to see to win. Like they got to win that first cup before we have that conversation. But
Yeah.
they're in a
And-
good spot to have it though. They are in a good spot where if they win with all the young talent they have locked up, yeah, they could win a few cups in a span of a decade. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Unfortunately for them, though, they're in a conference with Carolina, who's going to be tough.
Yep.
The Panthers, you guys are a thorn. Tampa Bay still,
Still good.
still good. Washington has just been just sneaky, just good
Mm,
for no good reason.
yeah. It'll be
And you have
interesting.
Toronto, you have Ottawa, who's trying to show something.
Ottawa's this team that I had 2 years ago. I was like, this is the year they'll finally make the playoffs. They always break my heart. So I think Ottawa has the pieces to be very good. I just think they need to. I think they have the goaltender now in Olmark, but they just couple fine tweaks, and Ottawa's a team that's could be. There's a lot of good young teams in the
Yeah.
Atlantic, and just in the Eastern Conference in general.
And that's why I think that I don't know if Jersey's just going to win a cup anytime soon.
Florida, I think, is the front runner, but
Yeah.
I just
Well, there's
I'm-
not a lot of drop off between Florida and New Jersey.
no. I think what Florida has is their size to them, and I think Florida has experience.
Indeed.
So that's got to win worth a good edge. But man, you get into the playoffs, you never know.
And that's 100. I mean, when Pittsburgh beat Tampa, what, half dozen years ago? Yeah, that's right?
Pittsburgh beat Tampa.
Or no, when Columbus beat.
Oh yeah, when Columbus beat Tampa when they had that record-breaking season. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's weird things happen in the playoffs.
Speaking of weird, let's talk about the Detroit Red Wings 7-game winning streak.
Yeah.
They have
I
been.
stumbled across this today. I was like, what? And I was thinking about you immediately when I read that. I was just like, I have to tell Paulie this because this is odd.
So they started out the winning streak with a December 29th win against the Capitals 4-2. Then on the 31st of last day of 2024, they beat the Penguins 4-2. So, beat the Capitals have been a very good team this year. Then they beat Columbus 5-4. Winnipeg 4-2. Winnipeg's been having a great year. Ottawa in overtime
That's a solid
3-2.
win.
Chicago 5-3. Seattle 6-2. That was their last win. So they've won 7 straight. And now they've kind of worked themselves back into that wild card discussion. Now, the Red Wings have been one of these teams that have always been close. We all have heard the Yzerplan. Like, believe in the Yzerplan. Believe it. Please believe it. And I think his seat has gotten a little bit hotter when it comes to the fans. Maybe not the owner or management, right? But
Yeah.
his seat's gotten a little bit hotter with the fans. They're kind of getting fed up. They're like, okay, I mean, we have this talent. Why aren't we winning?
Yep.
Do you believe that this winning streak is sustainable? And could you possibly see the Red Wings sneak into the playoffs this year?
If they can tack on about 3 or 4 more wins, and run this winning streak up to say 10 or 11,
Hmm.
and then just keep playing, you know, hypothetically win 2 out of every 3 after
Hmm.
that. I think they could. I really do. As much as I loathe them, every fiber of my being, yeah, I most certainly think they could make the playoffs. And even more so, I think they would be a tremendous pain in the ass to anybody that had to play them.
Yeah,
I'm a little
because
sad they're in the Eastern Conference because I would love to get some, well, much belated payback for all the weapons. I mean, I'm never sad to see the Avs beat the Red Wings,
so
but I don't know. I'm just looking ahead at their next 4 games. So Tuesday, San Jose, Thursday, Florida,
mhm.
Saturday, Tampa, Sunday, Dallas. Oofa.
I think they're not going to reach 10. I think they might reach
No.
8, and then it's going to get snapped. So I'll say it's a great run,
Yeah.
but I'll just be very blunt. I don't believe in this team because I don't believe in the goaltending. I mean,
Yeah.
you have Cam Talbot, who's had an okay year, 903 save percentage, 2.98 goals against average. Alex Lyon, when healthy, solid, 2.71, 902 save percentage. Like, it's okay. I mean, it's okay goaltending, but offensively, their leading goal scorer is Lucas Raymond with 46 points in 42 games played. Very good. But Dylan Larkin, 37 points in 42 games. DeBrincat, 36 in 42. And then Patrick Kane, 27 and 37. Sider, the defenseman, 26 and 42. It's like they have solid enough production. I mean, Tarasenko has been a disappointment, in my opinion, for what you signed him with. He's only had 16 points in 41 games. To me, they're a solid team. They're like a playoff bubble team. But they're good, but not great. I think that they're kind of in this weird situation, which you kind of hate to be as a franchise. You're not terrible, but
No.
you're not great either.
Not that great. Yeah.
You know, like yeah, you might win a couple games, but do I look at the Detroit Red Wings? I'm like, this is a team that could go on a run. I just don't see it. I don't. If they do
I,
make the
I'm.
playoffs, I think they're out in one round.
Well, I would definitely say that. I'm probably going to upset some Detroit fans and Buffalo fans. They're the Buffalo Sabres of last year.
Mm.
Just right there, you know, last week or 2 of the season, and you still have a little bit of hope. And it gets dashed with a couple 3 games left.
Yeah.
I think they're now, because Detroit almost made it last year.
Yeah. They did. They're just a bubble team right now. Like they could or can make it, but I don't know if they're good enough to really do anything once they do make it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I liked some of the pieces there. I mean, Lucas Raymond, very good player. I like Dylan Larkin. DeBrincat
I like
is
Dylan Larkin.
DeBrincat's a good scorer. You know, Patrick Kane for what he is at this point in his career, he's extremely good. I don't think there's enough there. You know, I don't.
Now, hypothetically, I'm not sure what their cap looks like, but would they be able to go out and get a goaltender?
So looking at the Detroit Red Wings cap, I'm glad you brought that up. They currently have. Let me look summary. They have 4 million in cap space available.
Oof.
So
Do you go out and trade for Georgiev?
no, I think that'd be a downgrade. I actually,
That's just me being an ass.
I mean, the problem it's weird. you couldn't really do much to improve this roster for this season.
Outside of the goaltending,
Yeah, but who are you
I
gonna
think.
find? Who are you gonna find to really come out? You know what I'm trying to say? Like who are you gonna find to trade for to fix that? You know, I mean, Casa is this young goaltender that he's only 22 years old. I mean, he was kind of looked at as the next guy. 6'6", big body. Played I think one game this season, didn't look so hot. So I mean, I think him like Casa. I mean, if you're hoping maybe he can take the next step, but he's a young goalie.
What
So
about Dostal? The Ducks.
I don't think they trade him. I think that's their future. I think they know Gibson's done. I think they're just at this point with Gibson. They're like, it is what it is. We'll
Yeah.
keep him until his contract expires. Because like, let me look at how many years because Gibson's got until 26, 27. So this year and then so 2 more seasons after this season. And then I think Dostal, they'll probably, he's an RFA at the end of this year. But
Yeah.
I think personally that it'd be a mistake to get rid of Dostal. I think you pay him, and the Ducks don't spend a lot of money, so they shouldn't have the
No.
issue of retaining. That shouldn't be a problem. Right? So I think the Ducks have, they have $33 million in cap space. What the?
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
Holy schnitzel.
Yeah. Projected.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why they're not a great team. But I think when it comes down to it, I mean, do you trade for Gibson? But I don't think Gibson's the guy that
No.
really like. If it was Gibson of like 5, 6 years ago, we're having a different conversation.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, I think looking at Casa's minor league statistics for this year. For the Grand Rapids Griffins in 20 games played, he has the 2.34 goals against average, a 9.17 save percentage, 10-7-3 record. Last year, 9.13. Like, I mean, he looks like he's put up solid numbers in the AHL.
Yeah.
But I just, it's probably a little bit too early to make that jump. He might need another season or two down to the minors. They're probably going to rely on him being called up next year with their current tandem. I mean, I think Talbot's a respectable goaltender. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a really robust team for Talbot to win you a cup. Like, he's got to be on a great team at this point in his career. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, would you? Is there anybody in the league you think they would be able to acquire?
Well,
Stuart Skinner.
God. I know some Edmonton fans that would, or some folks that would that load his shit up and drive him out of town. I mean, nothing really jumps out at me.
Yeah. And that's the problem. It's just, I think when you don't have a goaltender, it's hard to trade for one.
Oh, completely.
So, but yeah, I mean, hats off to the Red Wings. I mean, they've had a 7-game win streak. They've done really well. I think they'll maybe
Good on 'em.
I think they'll go to 8, but I think it's going to get snapped after that. But it's a good run. I mean, 8 games.
I think after that San Jose game,
Yeah, I agree.
I think they would be tickled to take 2 or 3. I think they could maybe win one of those 3,
Yeah.
steal one. And even then, if you were able to take 2 of those 3 from the 3 games I mentioned, I think you'd be over the moon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you would be because you're playing some of the best teams in the NHL.
Yeah, you're up against, you'll get a real litmus test of how good you really are when you play those 3 teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's we'll do our last subject because I'm actually kind of getting tired here. Uh, should the New York Rangers sell? Now they're currently on a 2-game winning streak, but Chief want to have this as a subject matter.
And since I've mentioned it, I think it's a little too early to tell. Now, if they are still more than half dozen points out of a playoff spot, say on the 1st of February, when you go to the break, now do they sell?
Mm.
If you're more, say you're hypothetically 8 points out of the last wild card, if you were running the Rangers, would you go into sell mode?
I think it depends. Is who are you selling?
I mean, obviously,
it
they made it well known that they want that Kreider is available.
right, but
Um,
are you looking for draft capital? Like, what are you looking for in return?
I think you have to go with draft capital because at this point, this season has just been a just abject failure. I think a lot of folks went into when the preseason started, they had them, as potential cup finalists. And looking at that roster, you had no reason to think otherwise.
No.
But for whatever reason, I mean, the wheels have come off. Now,
it's starting to look like it's coming back together, though.
But here's the thing, though. Do they have enough, where they've put themselves now, do they have enough runway to make the playoffs?
I think so.
That's what it comes down to.
I think so. I think there's still. I think there's still plenty of time. It's because I mean, looking at the standings, right? And by the way, shout out to Kapu Kaku, who's 7 points in 10 games for the Seattle Kraken. He's looked good.
And that I did see that, and I kind of had to chuckle a little bit.
He's looking good. So I mean, listen, they're 4 points back at that second wild card spot, right? I think if they're in striking distance, I don't think you sell. I mean, looking at their last, I mean, actually, I wouldn't even say their loss, right? So their last 3 games, they lost to the Dallas Stars in overtime, right? So they get a point there. And the Dallas, we both know, is an extremely good team. They beat the New Jersey Devils in overtime, a very good team. And then they just beat the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1, another great team. It showcases that the Rangers have the capability to be special. And I think if they can get another win against Colorado on the 14th, this could kind of show signs that they're trending in the right direction. I still think, because Kreider's been out of the lineup with injury, I still think you could explore dealing Kreider, and maybe you bring somebody in that maybe fits better, right? Somebody that kind of has a better fit. But to me...
Like Zadorov. Sorry, I had to say it.
To me, I think with the Rangers, I wouldn't sell unless I'm getting a crazy return. But
that's fair.
It's just going to be very interesting. I think I'll say this: by the mid-February, if they're about 8-10 points back, let's say they regress again. I think that's when you kind of explore, like, okay, let's see what we can deal before the trade deadline so we can get some type of return. You know what I mean? I think that would probably be what happens.
Oh, you have to.
So.
Regardless of where they are, I still think Kreider's going to get dealt.
I think so too. I think it's just kind of a matter of time when that happens.
Well, and they have enough time before the trade deadline. They can see who the serious parties are.
Yeah. I mean,
Um, I I have this odd feeling he's not going to stay. They're not going to. I don't. As much as I would like to see him go to you guys, I don't think that's going to happen.
no, I don't think so either. I don't think anything's going to happen with the Bruins personally.
Yeah, I think he's. Now, I just thought of this and it was terrifying, and but I don't know what their cap room looks like. Can you imagine going to Dallas?
Yeah.
How terrifying, or Vegas?
Yeah.
That's. Ugh.
He'd be actually
Sorry,
be.
I almost made. I made myself almost throw up there.
If the cap could work, he'd be a perfect player for Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
He
would.
I just don't think they'd do that to themselves. I could be wrong.
No, I don't know what they'd have to. They'd have to. I don't think they could give up any players. It'd have to be entirely draft picks.
Yeah, because the Knights aren't gonna give up on their current window.
No. But yeah, just the thought of the whole him going to either Dallas or Vegas just nauseates me tremendously.
I don't blame you, but I think we're gonna wrap it up here, man, because I'm fading. It's like
Nice.
4:30 in the morning, dog. So
It's only 2:23 here. Come on, man, you're in the wrong time zone, brother.
Oh, fuck, man. So this is about an hour-long show almost. I want to say big thank you to Edit It for popping in live at like such an early or late show, however you want to kind of look at that.
Good on him.
Saw we got 5 likes on the video while we were, some people came in and probably went to bed during or after. And
Good for them.
Want to appreciate you guys kind of watching this video. And if you're watching this in post-production, or not post-production, but after the live stream, we appreciate you listening. And we're going to make sure to have another one of these live streams probably at a little bit more reasonable of an hour so we could get a little bit more interaction. But
Very good.
But
you know what we should do?
What's that?
Well, year before last, when you were doing the kind of the live look-ins on playoff games, we got to pick a game.
Oh, we could do that. That'd actually be a fun idea.
Yeah, I have one of those. I've already expelled my quota of good idea for the next week, so I'm spent.
Well, man, make sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe if you're not already. I'm heading off to bed, bro. So, you got anything else to say, Chief, before we get out of here?
Happy Kwanzaa.
I
know it's probably late.
You're so fucking stupid. On that note, yeah. I'm gonna take my
yes, I am.
I'm gonna take my friend Touch with Autism, and we're gonna head out of here. Stop.